Hey, my last video was quite a success. From Guna to Bloomer, already has 93 views and 6 likes. For me, this is great. My other recent success was the JoJo video, but I mean, of course, if you put anime and so on, it will perform great. But for a regular video, since a long time, the recent one with from Guna to Bloomer is my greatest success of a semen retention video. And yeah, this shows the validity of explaining stuff to people that are earlier in their journey and to take them serious as well, and also to be able to share about different aspects, not only about, oh, I'm on a streak and I have all the benefits and so on. Yeah. And I was accumulating a streak recently again. But then it crashed by itself. And I know what was the mistake. The streak dissipated, I went again to the students' bar last weekend, and I was kind of distanced from people. You know what always happens when I have a higher drive after a reset? Then I subconsciously, it happens automatically, this is not a conscious decision. You automatically look out more for people and so on, and they pick this up. And they also like it. And this is why you get more interactions happening. But then when I'm on a longer streak, I turn completely inward. I start to ignore people. And even if I try not to ignore, they just somehow directly notice. Like last time I went to the students' bar, a person who had me in mind, in the more streak energy, was excited to see me, and then directly I saw instantly shifting in the face of that person the expression from excitement to more of, I don't know, intimidation or what, like I don't care. Basically she saw it in my eyes, I guess, and then directly she started behaving differently. It was interesting to see. So I was basically on a streak energy, and still this is what happened. And then there's one other girl, she's always my marker. Because, you know, this is what I do. I take people like markers. I see how they react and I know where I am standing. And this girl was, again, ignoring me. Because I was probably too intimidating and giving kind of dismissive signals just through the way that I was looking and everything. Such an unfazed look, like I don't care about anything, you know, dull, kind of dull. And this happens when I deprive myself of sexual energy for too long. But this is Kundalini energy, yeah? Sexual energy is nothing else than Kundalini energy. And my big mistake was that last time when I still had streak energy and eye magnetism and everything, I still felt down because of something. I don't remember what it was. But then I just lied on the couch and then I felt good. And I should have just kept it at that. But I thought, hey, after my last Kundalini yoga session, it's already 19 days, I can afford doing it again. And this was a big mistake. I did Kundalini yoga even though it was not necessary because I was not in a flat line. I really have to learn to only do Kundalini yoga, if at all, then during a flat line. And I violated this because it was not set as a strict rule in my mind yet. So because I had too much time and I thought maybe it boosts me further, I did Kundalini yoga. And yes, indeed, my streak energy was still remaining. I still went out and it was cool. And I thought, okay, nice, Kundalini yoga helped. But what I think it really did is it shortcutted my energy. So it was boosting it, but the energy therefore crashed quicker than normally it would have. So normally energy raises over time, slower. But because I did the Kundalini yoga, I raised it higher, quicker, but then it also dissipated and crashed quicker. So for a few days it was still fine, but then basically I hit something similar to the flat line. So this was a big mistake. I need to really learn to only do Kundalini yoga in flatline. And because I realized I pushed myself into the flatline because I did Kundalini yoga too early, I then decided to do a sexual reset as explained in the video that I put in the description below. Typical method that I would use. Yeah, and I did it with corn because in the past it was not issue for me, but this time even this was too much. I mean, I got more social, indeed. I got again more interest from people. It worked, but I was a bit awkward. I had a bit brain fog. And the moment I entered the students bar on Monday, first thing that happened is I hit painfully when going into the bar my right hand at the table soccer. I hit it and it was painful even for the next day. This is how hard I hit my hand. So yeah, I take this as a sign of the universe that I'm now, I don't know, probably also need to stop that. But anyway, this is not even the main issue. The main issue was that I did Kundalini yoga too early and I shortcutted my streak success. But I learned about other methods. I was starting to watch Regal Change again, that other Semen retainer on YouTube, and he said to increase horniness, and this equals basically that you are more attentive towards the outside world and that your Kundalini energy gets again higher, I assume. He said to do that, you can put your balls in warm water. He was giving other tips like putting them in the sun, but I think that's stupid. But putting them in warm water, I guess this makes sense. Because then your semen moves quicker again and maybe it gets absorbed better and you get more activated again. To me this makes sense, so I will probably experiment to do this from time to time. I also want to decouple TRE, trauma release exercise sessions, from Kundalini yoga. I think TRE is more of a soft thing, you can do it more often and it will not have such an issue. On Reddit actually some people reported that it does even make them more horny. And like I said, horniness equals Kundalini, raised Kundalini energy. It makes you more alive. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm so broken deep down. My soul is so broken that it cannot socialize just based on the heart chakra. It needs sexual energy to be able to socialize. And if the sexual energy is gone, I don't care about people because I don't have the best idea in my mind about humans and who they are and what they're capable of, and because I was going through the dark night of the soul and I saw a lot of stuff, and I think it made me very delusional about people, disillusioned about people. But I don't know. So yeah, I'm kind of dependent on having Kundalini energy. So yeah, but I need to find ways that are not sexual anymore. Like, this is not the best thing. Every time you do something sexual, you lower your thought forms and you start thinking more from your lower chakras again. This is inevitable. I don't know. I mean, this also increases horniness, and sometimes it seems that this is exactly what people and girls also in particular respond positively to, because they like if they see that someone has some subconscious attraction to them. It happens automatically, like I said. They just take it like some sort of validation, or that you're even engaged in general. You are just sending signals of engagement, which is of course positive, you know. But yeah, it lowers your thought patterns. But before I get more into that, let me share more about ideas of raising Kundalini in a non-sexual fashion. I tried micro LSD dosing. LSD microdosing, so I just took 1/15 of a regular dose because I thought it maybe makes me creative or something. To be honest, it just led to, after my sexual reset and a 1-day break, to have a second such reset. Now I'm done because I have pushed out the horniness, the over horniness from my system. Now I can relax again and go on the next streak. In the past, this would have taken me much longer. Normally, if I would reset and I couldn't control the reset, I would then spiral into a negative pattern where I would have to edge for weeks and months before I would again catch myself. But I learned to not do it, as I learned that edging over time lowers your energy more and more. I wasn't aware of this in the beginning. And also, I learned that it harms your body over time. And now if I start edging and I just do it for a while already, I will get the same issues. It gets quicker and quicker. This is like a mechanism that pushes me away from indulging too much. And that's good. But now, yeah, even if I do a reset, I don't linger on the low side. And I think this is a progress in by itself. I'm just growing still. Like, in every part of the journey, I'm growing while on a streak, and I'm growing while resetting, because I know that I can quicker and quicker recover and not linger in the low. And if my energy is low, I can do a Kundalini yoga session once and I reliably have a streak energy again. So I'm making progress, and the end result is hopefully at some point to completely be above everything and not need to reset at all. And yeah, those other techniques, like I said, trauma release exercises. For the first time in my life, I was recently listening to another YouTuber with 100,000 subscribers, and he was mentioning TRE and that it is important if you're doing semen retention. Before this, I only heard about it on Reddit once. Yeah, so the trauma release exercises, I will also again put the link below, and for the Kundalini yoga as well. I think it's always helpful to put them in the description so people can always quickly go there. I think TRE can be done more often, like, I don't know, every 5 days or so, but I'm not yet planning to do it strictly. I just think I'm more open-minded to do it more often when I feel like, that's all. But I think a great thing is L-Arginin. You know, L-Arginin raises your Kundalini energy for sure. Before we get into L-Arginin, let's talk about microdosing on LSD. This creates a glow in the days to come, I would say. On Reddit they say the same thing. So you can use this probably to raise your Kundalini to some degree, but I don't think it's the best way or the most healthy way. I mean, the high that you get from a microdose of LSD is much more sustainable than from weed, because weed gives you more brain fog, while LSD keeps you clear-minded. That's good. But yeah, I mean, I heard also if you eat avocado, it's supposed to recover your Kundalini and everything. But I think avocado, for example, is such a weak type of Kundalini raiser. L-Arginin is a much stronger Kundalini raiser. Also, what I'm doing now is 2 magnesium pills at night. They reliably give me dream recovery the next day. I have memory of what I was dreaming now for 3 days in a row due to magnesium, but it's just a bit of memory, like not strongly. Like I don't remember a lot of details, but for now this is cool. So I continue with this now for a while. Let's see if it continues reliably producing dream memory recovery. And I am writing down on WhatsApp in a group that I created for myself where only I am inside. I'm doing some dream logging. So I just write the core theme of the dream down. And then if I have motivation at some point, I maybe go more in detail. But for now, this is enough. And yeah, this way I will train my dream memory. But you know, they say if you go on a long streak, you will naturally get more vivid dreams and lucid dream. They also say when you go on a streak of 400 days, you will naturally last longer in bed and so on. But for me, this is all just not very feasible to go on long streaks if I hit the flat line after a few days, after 30 days, or quicker if I push my energy too high and crash it due to Kundalini yoga, for example. These are all such issues, you know. And yeah, honestly, like still, the most healthy idea would be to have a prostate method, sexual reset once a month, without corn, without anything. And if I still do it with corn, or I use corn in general, I'm just basically fooling around because my spirit tells me it's not such a big issue. And it really is not such a big issue. Because what's the real big issue is when I completely destroy my energy to the point where it's negative and I walk out and I have to be scared that a car hits me or something. That's bad. And I know how to not do that. But fooling around here and there, my spirit is just kind of okay with it for now. But I'm getting better and better, which is obvious from me, for example, not indulging in edging anymore. So I'm getting there. And another sign of me getting better is that I indeed am researching these ways to raise my Kundalini energy without sexual indulgence. So L-Arginin is great. I guess wormwood can also help from time to time. because it shifts somehow the way you're gazing, it shifts your way of looking, and people pick up on that. L-Arginin, if you take it too much, it's very dangerous, honestly. In 2020, during my dark night of the soul, I did not know about the bad effects of taking L-Arginin too much. Originally, I started taking it because I heard it's supposed to make you last longer in bed, which is important if you're on retention, obviously. Because you're not training your sexual stamina, because you are abstaining. But, so yeah, because I did not know any better, I was taking it every day. And normally it's recommended to take it every day. This is what's written on the pill description. But for me, if I do this, it completely fucks me over. My eyes get watery and teary. Not only that, I just get too much energy, and then I would have to lie on the couch sometimes or on the bed, and my heart would beat too fast, and I would get too much vivid imagination going on, and it would feel very, very bad. It's like torture. So this is what would happen if I would take repeatedly L-Arginin pills, like 2 pills, three days in a row, for example, and then I would get issues. Something like this. This is very bad, and actually didn't help so much to last longer in bed as well, funnily enough. I would also get super vivid dreams just from L-Arginin, but because my system would be stressed, my body would be stressed, the dreams would also be stressful. One time I had a jump scare where I went in the dream into my bathroom, and there was a man standing, and he was smiling at me, but not in a nice way, more like, ha, I got you, I caught you, and like he was dangerous, kind of. And in 2020, I had, for example, a very bad dream also when I had too much L-Arginin intake, where I saw 2 super huge dinosaurs fighting each other. Basically, this was a representation of my energy clashing with itself, my energy overload. It was just stressful and scary to even look at them. This is how powerful they were. Kind of fascinating afterwards, but not something I wish to experience, you know. Back then I had in general a lot of bad dreams. I don't know to what degree this is also because of L-Arginin. But yeah, in phases I would suddenly get very, very bad consciousness states where I would be super stressed. So I learned to stay away from L-Arginin mostly, but sometimes it's nice. Especially when I had a relapse, I would take 2 L-Arginin, and it would help me recover faster, I think. In general, like, I'm not scared of taking 2 Arginin pills. I'm just scared if I do it repeatedly, especially 3 times in a row. But even with 2 times in a row, I would be already careful. But if I now do it, I don't know, once every 2 weeks, I could even do it more often. I could do it once a week, I don't know. You know, like when you do it too often, you just get restless. The same happens when you have a sexual reset. Suddenly you're restless, you have even more aggression and anger in your system. You get more, like, you all the time you want to scratch yourself somewhere, like it's tingly somewhere. It's really not a nice feeling. But this is similar to what happens when you take L-Arginin pills too much. But at the same time, such sexual resets and L-Arginin pills obviously raise your energy. This is why you get restless. This is why you get stressed. It's unintegrated or an overload, let's say, of Kundalini energy. So if I just do it from time to time, maybe this will prevent me from getting this dullness into my eyes, which I get on a longer streak, which makes people not engage with me anymore. Yeah. And I guess really, like in the long term, I have to learn to stay away from any sexual engagement whatsoever. I already learned to just chill on the couch instead of edging when I have too much time or feel down, and it recovers me. That's already good. But the problem is, like I said in the beginning, when you indulge, you lower your thought patterns to a more animalistic state of mind. One time I had it very extreme. When I was on my 90-day streaks, I noticed it so badly that after relapse, it's like a download again from stuff that you already externalized and pushed out of yourself. You're downloading back your sexual urges and dirty thoughts that are kind of egoistical and kind of evil, to be honest. And this is not your angelic self anymore. And then you start to justify doing stuff that in the long term leads you to further edging and relapsing. This is all what happens when you start engaging your sexual energy. That's the problem. And I know that this is not ideal. Like one time I decided to stop edging because it was getting too bad, and only because I decided to stop edging. Next time I went to the students' bar, everyone was paying the most attention ever to me, and even the people that are normally super suspicious. Yeah, because I had such a pure, determined mindset. This is something that I noticed. Your mindset really plays a role. And then sometimes, in other cases, I would just sit somewhere waiting for the trauma or whatever, and it wouldn't come, and I would indulge in sexual thoughts. I'm not doing this so much anymore, but I had my moments in the past. And I would notice how people look at me in a way like intimidated. Like I still was retaining, but I was thinking too much sexual stuff, and they were intimidated because I saw there's some evilness in me. So yeah, it's really, you have to learn to clean your mind from that. You have to learn to clean your mind from, as Sati Yoga Institute, Shunyamurti, another YouTube channel, would say, you have to clean your mind from jouissance. Jouissance is this wish to indulge in any carnal, egoic pleasure. You cannot reach the highest state, the Brahman, be one with God, while still entertaining these lower thought forms, or for example being obsessed with any part of the human body. The only thing that always pushes me back into this is that otherwise at some point I cannot relate to people because I'm getting distant. But if I can do it through means of L-Arginin and even stupid techniques like putting your balls in warm water, whatever, if it's possible, I might learn it. Because on a longer streak I always have to convince myself to even do a sexual reset. But once it's done, your lower nature again starts to connect, and that's the problem. Yet, I do feel that I am getting rid of my lower nature, even when I do a sexual reset. This is why I can quicker and quicker recover and again start to abstain after doing a reset. Because with time you get more and more knowledge, you understand it's not good, or you also just get detached in general, you don't linger so much on it anymore. So even on this level, I'm cleaning my energy. And actually, I think to some degree, what I'm doing is much more sustainable than other retainers who go on long streaks and then they're like, whoops, I relapsed. Yeah, because at some point, I will not even have the urge to relapse at all. You know, they're always talking about fixing their urges and everything, and their urges are so strong and they suffer. You know, this is not my idea of a perfect life, that I'm on streaks and I'm on retention, but I always have to suffer because of urges. I think I get to a point where I just never have urges at all. And I mean, honestly, already now, I normally don't have urges unless I decide to have a sexual reset first. I do this logically. And yeah, what pushes me into this is always, you know, I was on a streak, but then the streak power dissipates. And then I, for example, sit in the bus and I get a negative conversation from some person. For the second time now, I had a negative conversation with a woman. Previous time, when I was on a long streak of 35 days or so, I did the sexual reset after a woman in the bus was super mean to me and was like, yeah, I have to go out here, blah, blah, blah. This time it was already less bad, but it was a bit similar. My streak started to dissipate, I go into the bus, and there's a woman and she has her bag on the chair, but there were not a lot of other spaces, and I told her, hey, can I sit here? And she let me sit there, but she was like, yeah, but this bag is heavy, rah, rah, rah. But she was not completely bashing me or something. But based on her tone, I realized she is really not that happy that I'm sitting there, and she gave me a rather dismissive type of tone and so on. And I wasn't even judging her. I was like, okay, this is how she is right now, I don't care. At least she lets me sit there. So it was a much better thing than previous time when I was having dissipated streak energy. So yeah, because I always perceive my life as a lucid dream, I also always have this perception that whenever some shit happens, it just needs to happen so I can process it. And then in the future, when similar stuff happens, it will already be not as bad, and it's like dissipating. You know, the metaphor comes to my mind, where you have a stone and the water is all the time rushing there because it's a river or something, and over time the stone gets more, refined and breaks away because the water keeps all the time washing over it. And this is what happens with my semen retention journey and my lucid dream experience of real life. I hope you can follow me. Yeah, and then also what's interesting is how always people get sent your way on a streak. I was in a very high streak energy, and then we have one woman who lives in this area where I'm living. She's in a wheelchair. She always annoys everyone to carry her around, and she's completely abusing it. Once someone says, okay, I carry you around, she will tell him, now I need to go here, now I need to go there, and doesn't let him go, And I already did it in the past multiple times. I'm sick of doing it for her, and she's a super bad person. She is all the time nagging randomly, insulting people, shouting at cars, wishing people painful death. I heard her doing that. She in general hates humans. So I really don't see that I have to help her, honestly. But last time when I was in a high streak energy, I saw her. I don't know, it was also magnetism from my side. It wasn't just her. I was like, that's funny, let's see. I go past her to see some of the drama, because I saw she was already nagging. I don't know, maybe this was stupid, but I thought it's entertaining. So I went past her, and she asked me, hey, can you bring me over there? And I was like, no. And then she directly called me asshole, and I got super pissed, because this is how I am. I hate when people overstep their boundaries, because I had enough of this in my school time. So I lashed out on her and insulted her back. And I don't know, maybe she at this point siphoned off some of my energy. I still had it for a while, but maybe this is part of why it started to dissipate in the long run. Maybe I should have reacted differently, because I am supposed to be the higher self, and the higher self would not lash out at someone only because he gets insulted. You know what I mean? But sometimes I lack the idea, the key of how to act differently. It's not in my mind sometimes, even though I know that our higher self already has all the answers. Because during my spiritual awakening, I was completely acting from my higher self, and I was surprising myself. I was like, where did he get this from? Is this really me who is acting? It didn't feel like it was me. It was a higher power. It was still me, but it was like channeled. But you need to learn to get there consciously. This is called the reverse engineering of your spiritual awakening, reverse engineering of your highest state that you already experienced, reverse engineering of your higher self. But yeah, maybe she siphoned off some energy, and this is part of what led to my streak dissipation. Also, it is interesting how in different consciousness states you always attract the same girls over and over, and I mean exactly the same girls, not just the same type, but also explicitly the same girl. When I'm in my highest energy, I would attract a certain type of girl randomly. She would show up, I would see her on the street or in the bar, she would appear. If I'm already still in a very high energy, but something happens so that the energy is not completely optimal anymore, and I know I could perform even better, then I multiple times met another girl, be it on the street or in the train. And then, when I have a sexual reset in a controlled fashion, as explained in my video in the description, and I have this reset to corn, I always also get a girl show up in my life, and she shows interest in me, always exactly after the corn session. And this girl is more feminist, and she has character issues. So you, with higher consciousness states, where you stay away from corn, you attract rather the more high quality girls. That's just also interesting to point out. But the main thing I want you to take away is don't do Kundalini yoga unless you're not in a flat line. You can do TRE sessions, trauma release exercises, more often in between, but not too often, because this is what they also recommend on Reddit. But you just do them. You don't need to do them together with Kundalini yoga. You just do them by themselves. Even though probably there's not a thing that really speaks against using them right before Kundalini yoga. And also you can use L-Arginin from time to time, but not too often, and this way you might be able to completely avoid dissipating your streak and falling into the flatline, as L-Arginin pills are also raising your Kundalini. Wormwood might also help, but I think L-Arginin is much more effective, so I think this makes more sense to focus on L-Arginin. And then of course there's this weird technique of putting balls in warm water. I didn't try it yet myself. I might do it.